Hey everyone, welcome to Lunaceline Creations. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to paint this birch wine glass with cardinals. It's really pretty for the holidays or Christmas time or winter time, anytime. So I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. Here's what you're going to need. So first off, you're going to need, obviously, a wine glass. You can get it at the dollar store or wherever. I like a stemmed one for this project. I have wicker white. This is folk art multi-surface paints that I'm using today. I have pure black. I have engine red. Any kind of a bright red you have will be great for the cardinals. And then this is a bright yellow. This is Deco Art glossy enamels. Yellow is just a little bit for the beak. Any kind of bright yellow will do. So first thing you do is clean your glass with rubbing alcohol, just to remove any residue or fingerprints or grease marks that might be on there. We always start with the fresh glass so the paint will adhere better. Okay, the brushes you're going to need a liner brush or two, and you're going to need a fluffy round brush and a fluffy flat brush, and then a little bamboo pick comes in handy sometimes for some of those finer details once we start doing the black markings on the tree trunk and the branches. So let's start this glass off. We're going to go with our flat brush and we're going to dip it into our white. I did add a very tiny touch of black into my white in this case because it looked a little bit stark to me. You don't have to do that, but just depending on what type of white you have. All right, so hold the glass carefully by the bowl and then start painting from the top of the stem to the bottom. Just short little strokes across, not up and down. And the textured look is going to look nice on here. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys, okay? So, you know, it's going to be basically representing a tree trunk, so there's going to be texture. And that's going to just enhance, you know, the look of the glass. The next step is to paint the top of the base of the glass. You can carry on here using your flat fluffy brush, or you can use your round one if you prefer. Just brush it on. Basically when you're painting on glass, you're laying the paint down. It's not like when you paint on canvas, right? So there's nothing to absorb the paint. So you're just basically laying it down. Don't overwork it. Move on fairly quickly on this step, and don't worry about the brush strokes, because what we're going to do after we have the first layer on there, we're going to pounce it out just using the paintbrush. I mean, if you happen to have a sponge pouncer, you could use that as well for a different look, but for this glass I just used the paintbrush and gently pounced it until I couldn't see the brush strokes anymore. For the bottom here, you could even do glitter afterwards. A little bit of silver glitter would look nice on something like this. I left it plain here, but that's always an option if you're interested in that. Okay, and once you're happy with the look of that, we're ready to move on to the next step. We're going to start with our tree trunks and our branches now. So dip in, load up your brush with your white paint. This is your liner brush you're going to be using here. And then just start with your trunk. Start at the base of the bowl. Work your way up. Apply a little more pressure at the bottom and a little less once you get to the top to make it a bit tapered. And just do this instinctively. Guys, there's no set formula on how to do these branches. It's a tree, right? So it's going to grow as it's going to grow. You can make some of your branches a little more horizontal. At least make sure you make a few of them like that, because you're going to put your little cardinal sitting on one of the branches, and it'll just make it a little easier to paint that way. The ones more near the top, you can have more angled, a 45-degree angle or even a smaller angle. And as you can see there, I just wiped off a little bit. If you find your branch at the top is too fat looking for you, just use your thumb or your forefinger and gently just remove some of that paint with a little swipe for your thumb. And any little mistakes you make along the way, any splatters or anything you don't like, you can always go in and remove later with a Q-tip and some alcohol, or even once it's completely dry, you can use a small razor blade or a small paring knife. The tip, just you have to be careful, that's all. So for the second tree here, I did the same thing. I'll just show you one more and then I'm going to speed it up for you guys. All right, so you make your little branches, have some small twigs coming off of the bigger branches. And just carry on. I think I did 5 tree trunks on this one. You can do as many as you want. You can do one tree. You can do one on each side. I find odd numbers look nice in art, as always. You know, the rule of 3 or 5, just aesthetically looks more pleasing to the eye for some reason. But who am I to say? You do what you want to do. All right. So you have the idea now. So carry on, finish up your branches, and then we'll see you in the next part. So once you're finished with that, just give it a quick spin around and make sure you're happy with how everything looks. Touch up what you need to, and then we'll move on. So now we're going to start making the black lines, the black markings on the stem of the glass, like the tree trunk part. So take the skinniest liner brush you have and just dip the tip into the paint. You don't want to overload your brush with paint or load it up too much at this point, because you want these lines to be fairly skinny and fine. They don't have to be uniform by any means. Just hold the glass with your opposite hand gently by the tip, the top of the bowl. Your branches could be dry at this point, so if you want to wait in between, let it sit for a bit so you're not worried about smudging that the paint at the top. You can do that. Just go in there. You can even go back and forth, like a small back and forth motion with your wrist. To get these, you want them to be horizontal across the stem of the glass. And now it's kind of starting to look more like a birch tree with the black markings, so that's nice. Take your time with this, and we will move on to the branches after we're happy with how the stem looks. If you find you get a blob of black that you don't like, just go back in gently with a little white paint and tone that area down, and it'll look gray, which is also a nice look for this tree trunk. For the next step, we're going to do the bottom part of each of these individual tree trunks and then move up to the branches. So again, with your skinny little liner brush, dip a small amount of paint, make your horizontal lines and markings, and go up each of the branches. When you hit the branch, just make sure your lines are horizontal on that branch. And then the trunk, of course, all the way up is going to be horizontal. This is when your little bamboo tool can come in handy, your little pick. You can make little markings, even little small circular markings for, say, knots in the bark. That looks kind of cool as well. And just take your time and have fun with it here. It's really going to start to come together. You can make as many black markings or as little as you like. It just helps to accentuate the design, give it that little pop of black. And you're just going to carry on and do each of your trees now. Okay, so for the last step, we're going to do our little cardinal. And I don't go into a lot of detail here with these. This is not a fine art type of painting of a cardinal. Just take a little bit of red, make a small circle for the head, make an oval for the body, fan out a few tail feathers on the bottom, and then make that little pointy part on the top of his head, the feathers on the top, to make it look like a cardinal. Do a little bit of black around the eye area, and a little bit of yellow, make your beak like a triangle. And basically that's it. If you're not sure how to paint a cardinal, just go on to Google Images, Google image search, and find yourself a little picture or a painting of a cardinal to give you an idea. But again, I keep these guys really simple. They just add that pop of color, which I think looks really pretty on these birch tree wine glasses. The final thing I did on these glasses, and this is entirely optional, you can skip this part. I just like to do it for a little bit of definition. I took my black liner brush and I outlined each of the tree branches, but not the whole tree branch. I basically just did one side of each, like the left-hand side of each branch of each tree trunk, just for like a highlight effect. It's not like a perfect cartoon outline or anything like that. It's just to go in and add a few black lines along some of the branches. I stuck to one side on mine. You can do them randomly or whatever. It just, to me, it just helps define the design a little bit more. Again, you can completely skip this part. It's up to you. So what you're going to do now is you're going to let your glass dry for a while. I leave mine usually for a day, and then I go back and have another look at it. I remove any little smudges or smears that I don't like, and then I'll put the full baking instructions in the description box for you. So you bake these up in your oven, and you're ready to go. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy this type of content and like to watch these types of art tutorials, please subscribe to my channel and hit that like button for me. It really helps me in the algorithm. And we will see you in the next one. From all of us here at Luna Celine Creations, thanks for watching. Cheers.